So I've been liking on the social media content, so I'm gonna get back on it. Today we're gonna start with 13/16 to take these lug nuts off. And you're also gonna need that key to take that tire off, the lug nut key. So I'll be back when I get this tire off to show you. Hey, next we're gonna take down this brake caliper with a 3/4, or you're gonna use a 19mm socket wrench and then pull this bolt off and then that bolt off, and this whole caliper will come out. Simplest brake pad design ever. Even in 2006, I think this was way ahead of its time. But let's get it done. That brake caliper off. Now we can deal with the suspension. This first suspension part we're gonna take off is probably gonna be the sway bar link. Then we're gonna go for this control arm, then the forward control arm, and then we're gonna get this strut off. We're gonna get the lower, and we're gonna take this off first too. But then we're gonna get these control arms and all this bottom stuff took off, so we'll be able to rotate the whole spindle to get the strut out. I'm gonna show y'all how that's gonna go. And the first thing you wanna do is grab your 9/16, put it on this sway bar link, and then you'll be able to get that. So I left the sway bar link to do last so I can support it up while I pull that bar loose. So I did disconnect this idler arm, I believe it is, but I don't think idler arm's going back. It's like an upper control arm. So I disconnect this upper control arm to both the lower control arms, and then gave them a 11 bump with the nut on it so you don't mushroom out the nut. So keep the nut on there, give it 11 bump to release it, and then you can take off the screw and then pull it out. You don't want to mess up the suspension. But we're gonna get all these parts taken off, and then we're gonna be back into the video. Suspension parts out. We got the strut out without taking the strut out. How you do that is you push this down. You're gonna push down on the whole hub. So you're gonna stick your foot right here, push down on the hub, and then push the strut back towards the end of the car, and then you'll be able to keep the strut in without fucking taking it loose. Then you can just go keep the nut on all of your suspension parts and then bang them out. Keep the nut on them because you don't want the actual threads at the bottom to mushroom, so you don't want to hit this directly because they'll mushroom out and then you can't get the screw back on it. So keep the screw on, hammer them up, get them out. Then you're gonna move your hub to be able to unplug those things. You might, how I did it, I laid on the ground, stuck my foot on it, kicked it, and then moved the suspension part at the same time to get it out. So now that you got all these suspension parts out, you want to put your nut on the axle. Then when you put your nut on your axle, you want to hammer it out. You want to hammer the axle out. You want to keep this nut on so you don't mushroom the bolt again, because if not, if you do mushroom the bolt, you got to get a new part. We're not doing that right here. You know what I'm saying? We're doing this the right way. So get that out, and I'm gonna show y'all the next step, because this got to be taken out with certain tools. I give y'all the part numbers and whatever y'all need to make this job successful. So after you hammer the axle out the spindle, then you want to pry it out. So you want to pry this up and then find a way. I use the damn thing to get up on this ring and pry it back, and then pull this at the same time. Watch your fingers. This is, if you cut up one of your fingers, this is not my fault, gang. Listen, this ain't for the weak. All right, so you're gonna pull the axle out, then you're gonna take these 4 bolts out on the back side. 3, 4. That's how I look in the back. That's not the bolts, that's the brake bolts. The right bolts is right under my camera. And then you can't see them there in every corner though. They're around this dust shield. I forgot to take the dust shield off. That's why you gotta go through the so I'm gonna use this screwdriver to come through here. Come through here. And just pop this dust shield out. Boom, 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 boom. Then you also can come through the back of him with a screwdriver, if you can fit one in there, and pop it out also. But I'm just gonna come through the front and pry it on each side and get it up out of there. Get that dust shield out there, and then you can see the bolts. So after you get your dust shield out, this gonna be the dust shield right here. ABS sensor go through it. You can see your 4 bolts. I'm sorry. All right, bet. So after you take your 4 bolts out, I'm gonna just charge my compressor up. then we're gonna push to the next step. All right, so we're gonna combine these tools. This gonna be the front wheel drive hub pillar and a slide hammer. The part numbers, I get these part numbers for you. This one is 67031, and this part number is I put it on the screen for y'all. But you're gonna need this, and what you're gonna do with it is you're gonna keep on hammering this up, right? So what happened to me yesterday is the spindle came out and the bearings and the actual like knuckle, the hub knuckle stayed in. What I did was I grabbed me some 80 millimeter M12 1.25 by 80. All right, 80 millimeters. Throw them in the studs. Throw them in the sockets that the bolts go in through the front, and then you're gonna put the same hoist on the, and then use the slide hammer again. I'll show y'all how that works, but that's if it happened. If it don't, then I have to show y'all a reference. Then you get your homies out here to come post some fucking unpaid work, unpaid hours, you know what I'm saying? This is how you do it. That's what I mean by yesterday. This is what happened to me. The spindle came out, and then this knuckle stayed in. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna give me one second. So that's what I was saying you're gonna do. So you're gonna screw these bolts in a good bit. You want to catch a lot of the threads so you don't just rip the, rip the threads up. You want to catch it, tighten it up real good. Make sure they're deep in there. I'm about to screw them on with the air gun a little bit, but get that on there. Then you're going to throw your slide hammer on. You're going to put the slide hammer like this, through the knuckle again. If you don't get the idea, through the knuckle again, and you're going to rip that part out. You're going to throw your hub bearing back in. I'll get back. Come out like this. That's the grab yourself a wire brush, spray and clean around here. Get that all tight in and stuff. You're gonna throw your hub bearing in. Throw your hub bearing in, hold everything back in, see the axle in, control arm. You'll be alright.